Hello again everyone, welcome back to ptet.chemistry channel. This is a continuation of the year 11 combined science chemistry revision. These are on periodic table, which includes the big chunk of inorganic chemistry. We talk about metals, non-metals previously. We also talk about group 1 metals in general. So here's just a bunch of these mix and match or matching the element with the users, which of course is associated with the elements in the periodic table. So looking at this question, it said draw one line from each element to link with its use. So you got to draw a line. Copper, so the use of copper out of all of these, the one that we can think about, copper wire, that is because copper is used in electrical wiring. So whenever you hear about the idea of copper wire, it actually means copper using in electrical wiring because it's a metal, so metal can conduct electricity in the solid state. Aluminium is used to make food containers because it is corrosion resistant, so it's resistance towards corrosion. You do not want your food container to be made of iron because then you will get rust in your food, I guess. And of course aluminum is also used to make the body of an aeroplane because of its light density, very light. Chlorine is used in treating water because it can kill microorganisms. So it kills harmful microorganisms. In structured paper, it's not all the time that you will get this kind of matching exercise. Sometimes they say state a reason for why chlorine is used to treat water because it can kill harmful microorganisms. Nitrogen, we get it from the air and we can use it to make ammonia. We use ammonia for a bunch of to make fertilizers, to make explosive and stuff, but in the case of making ammonia, the Haber process, it used the fractional distillation of air to get or to obtain the nitrogen as an element. Last but not least, argon is used to make light bulb. So light bulb get very hot, and as a result you do not want a reactive substance that can react at very high temperature. You want inert, or what we say unreactive gas. So inert or unreactive gas, that is your noble gas, that is your group 8. So group 8 is your noble gases. They have fully filled outer shell. They do not like to gain. They do not like to share. They do not like to lose electrons. That's because they already have fully filled outer shell. That's why they are inert and unreactive, and we can use it to fill light bulbs. In this next question, we have a bunch of list of substances. So you can use once, more than once, or not at all. So they say name the substance, so you don't need formula. In fact, it's using the list, so you don't have to come up with new things, just look at the list there. Now reacts with ammonia to produce a fertilizer. They are not asking for what is a fertilizer. Ammonium sulfate is a component of fertilizer, but here it said to produce a fertilizer. So some students look at this and they would think this is the answer, but not, because they are not asking for what is a fertilizer. They're asking for something that react with ammonia. This is a base. Your fertilizer will contain something like this, which is a salt. So something that react with base to give you a salt. You're looking at an acid. So nitric acid is an acid that can react with ammonia to give you ammonium nitrate. So if I write the word equation, you should be able to name the substance. Ammonia plus nitric acid is a neutralization reaction. You will get ammonium nitrate because nitrate salt comes from nitric acid. Sulfuric acid will give you sulfate salt. This is a base and acid. This is a neutralization reaction. Next one, reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to produce a colorless gas. So acid plus something will give you a gas. So we're thinking about acid plus metal. So you can be thinking about acid plus metal, which will give you hydrogen gas and a salt. You can also be thinking about acid plus metal carbonate, which will give you carbon dioxide gas, because carbon dioxide gas comes from the carbonate ion, which is your year 9 topic on the formula of ions, CO3 2 minus. Oops, I keep on getting that one wrong. CO3 2 minus is carbonate. The gas that you will get is carbon dioxide, which is CO2. So here, you don't have any reactive metal. You have a metal, but copper is below hydrogen in the reactivity series. So copper will not react with dilute. The key focus here is dilute. Metal reactivity series I covered in the previous lecture tutorials. Dilute acid will not react with copper, so copper cannot be the answer here. And of course we also have this option here, which is the carbonate. So any metal carbonate will react with dilute acid to give you carbon dioxide. It will give you calcium sulfate, and it will give you water as well. Next up, controlling the acidity of swell. So you want to control the acidity of swell. You want to reduce the acidity of swell because you don't want the swell to be too acidic. Something that can react with the acidity, with the acid substances in the swell. You want a base, but remember the carbonate can also react with the acidic substances in the swell. So I can also use calcium carbonate because they did say you can use each substance once, more than once, or not at all. Next one, forms a covalent compound. Covalent should remind you sharing electrons, and sharing electrons, covalent bond is between non-metal and non-metal. So non-metal and non-metal. So if you have non-metal and non-metal, hydrogen is one partner. So hydrogen can combine with something which is a non-metal. You think about another element, and that has to be chlorine, because hydrogen and chlorine will give you HCl, the dot and cross of which looks like this. Dot and cross is again a year 9 covalent bonding concept. There are 2 electrons being shared here. So 2 electrons shared equal to 1 covalent bond. Next one, you have an alloy. Alloy is a mixture. It's a mixture of metals. So this is one metal. So you got to choose another metal. They will mix with zinc to give you a mixture of metals, and the only obvious answer there, which is a metal, is copper. Next question, this is about drawing a line again to link each element with its correct use. So oxygen is used to make steel because you need to combine the iron with the pure oxygen, and then you will add in some carbon to make the stainless steel and stuff. Aluminium in the previous question was used to make a food container because it's corrosion resistant. In the context here for aircraft body, because of its light density, the low density, meaning it's lightweight. Actually it should be low density, and then what we say is it is lightweight. So you don't want your aeroplane to be very heavy because it will cost you a lot of money to pay for the fuel, to pay for the petroleum. Copper is used for electrical wiring. We keep on talking about copper wire. We said that in the previous case already. So copper wire because it's used to make electrical wiring. Zinc is mainly used for galvanizing. Galvanizing means protects iron from rusting, because zinc is a more reactive metal. So zinc will react with oxygen instead of iron, and therefore the iron doesn't rust. Instead, it's the zinc that will react with oxygen. Hydrogen is used to make margarine because you can add hydrogen across carbon alkene. This is in your organic chemistry topic. You can add onto alkene. This is alkene, carbon double bond, but you cannot add onto alkane. Once you add onto carbon alkene, then you get carbon alkane. Previously, you were something called unsaturated because you have carbon double bond. Now when you have alkane, that is something called saturated because you only have carbon single bond. Moving on to the next one. So we have some tests for gases and the results, and you got to mix and match not just one line but another line so that they all has to be linked correctly to give you 1 mark, because you have 4 other options. Carbon dioxide we use to test with lime water, and the lime water will goes milky in the presence of carbon dioxide. If CO2 is present, you get a milky, sometimes they say a white chalky precipitate. Sulfur dioxide is an oxide of non-metal. Oxide of non-metal is what you call an acidic oxide. In fact, SO2 causes acid rain. You can think about acid rain being caused by sulfur dioxide. So sulfur dioxide will be acidic, and that's the only best test I can think of. So blue litmus will turn red. That is test for acid. Now hydrogen, burning means it still got the fire. Glowing means no more fire, but it's got the flicker. The flicker meaning but no flame. Meaning to say you don't have the fire going, but you still have the little bit of flicker that will relight in the presence of oxygen. So oxygen is using glowing spleen, and the glowing spleen will relight. Okay, and hydrogen will tell you we're burning spleen, so the fire is still going on. When the fire is still going on, you have oxygen plus the hydrogen, and they will combine together to give you water. So 2 hydrogen and 2 hydrogen, but 2 oxygen and 1 oxygen. So I put a 2 in front there, and I need a 2 there. 2 hydrogen combined with 1 oxygen to give you water molecules. Water does not support fire, so you have fire on the burning spleen. You have the flame itself. So what happens is that will burns with a pop. So the pop there refers to the formation of water, and the water will put out the fire. That's why there's no more fire onto the burning spleen once you have hydrogen there, because the water put out the fire. These are a list of gases, so we gotta associate these with the description. So when you respire, so we are breathing out. Respiration is us taking in oxygen, but then they say the gas produce. So what do you produce? You will produce carbon dioxide, because then photosynthesis from the plants will take in the carbon dioxide and produces oxygen. The gas that turns universal indicator red. So when universal indicator turn red, so that means we are looking at blue to red. So we are thinking of acidic gas, so acidic substances. So we look at the stuff here which is acidic. We're looking at nitrogen dioxide, because NO2, 1 nitrogen and 2 oxygen, that can cause acid rain, and therefore it is acidic. So we can be thinking about nitrogen dioxide. Some of you might be thinking of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is slightly acidic, only very slightly. So not very acidic at all, only very slightly acidic. Whereas carbon monoxide, CO, is neutral oxide. So it doesn't give you any acidic or alkaline pH at all. It's just neutral oxide. The next one, sterilized drinking water. Sterilize means make it safe for drinking. So make safe by killing harmful microorganism, by killing or by removing harmful microorganism. So this very clearly point towards chlorine, because we use chlorine in water treatment to kill microorganism. Next one, to fill balloons and non-flammable. Non-flammable means it doesn't burn, it doesn't combine with oxygen, does not react with oxygen, does not burn in oxygen. O2 does not react with oxygen. We are looking at noble gas, and between the 2 noble gas, we don't use argon to fill balloon, we actually use helium to fill balloon, and helium is pretty lightweight, so your balloon will actually float instead of sinking. Next up, relighting a glowing spleen. Burning is when you have fire. Glowing is when the fire is out, but you still have the flicker. So that has to be oxygen, because oxygen will relight. It will make the flicker, relights a glowing spleen. Whereas if you have a burning spleen with the fire still going, it's very hard to see if the fire goes even brighter, or the fire grow even stronger. But if we use glowing spleen, where there's no more flame, no more fire, but there's flicker, then the flicker will relight and give us the flame again. Next up, we have these questions, a list of gases again. So produced by incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion means not carbon dioxide. CO2 is carbon dioxide. It's a year 9 concept, it's a geography concept, it's a general knowledge concept. So they're trying to trick you between the dioxide and the monoxide here, but the key here is incomplete, so it has to be carbon monoxide instead of carbon dioxide. What else? Most abundant gas in the air. Our A contains of nitrogen, oxygen, and then other gases in various amount. So N2 is around 79%. This is around 78%, 21%. Let me just write it down, because otherwise I might make a mistake. 78%, 21%, and this is the other 1% there. Okay, other gases. Now the most abundant means the highest percentage. Abundant means you have a lot of it, so it has to be nitrogen. They're asking for use the list, so I do not come up with formula, I do not come up with symbol, I just use the list of words. Reacts with water to produce a solution of pH 9. pH 9 means pH greater than 7, so this is alkaline, this is basic. So we're looking at something which is alkaline or basic. Very obvious, we're looking at ammonia, because ammonia can turn red litmus paper blue because it's alkaline. Turns red litmus blue is a test for ammonia. Okay, now next up, not present in polluted air. So polluted air does not have this gas. I wonder what gas this is. Polluted air. Polluted air, not present. Well, I mean, we have nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases, so not present in polluted air. I just figured it out now. Okay, so out of all of these gases, so you know that the really light gases, hydrogen and helium, they are found in the outer space. That is because they are very light. They will not be present in air at all. So whether you're polluted or not polluted, hydrogen will just be found in the outer space, and therefore you don't find hydrogen on Earth's surface at all. In fact, the hydrogen that we need for Haber process, they don't come from air. They actually come from cracking of hydrocarbon. You will have learned this in the Haber process. As for the source or where you get the nitrogen and hydrogen from. Next up, provides an inert atmosphere. Inert meaning unreactive, that means stable. So this would be your noble gas. This is actually argon. Argon is used to fill light bulb or lamp. So that's it for this tutorial on these matching exercises and filling in the blanks based on the uses of certain elements. You will have seen that some elements the users keep on coming up again and again. My goal really is to show you that these kind of questions are very popular, and you should really learn, or at least appreciate or know the uses of some of these things that come up very often. So thank you for watching. Click the button on the bottom right to subscribe to the channel. Pass me a USB drive if you want these videos offline. When you see me in school, can ask me anything as well before your exams. And yeah, follow me at ptet.chemistry on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to get connected.